taking in some calls. We're going to try to get in a lot of callers today. I see we've got Shawnee Big Sausage waiting in the queue. We're going to get him on and see if he'll stay on. We take some calls today. I've heard you guys, some of you guys have more callers, more callers. We all want to talk. We all want a piece of the big guy. We're going to try to get more callers on today's show, get your thoughts on WrestleMania and everything going on in the world of pro wrestling and life in general. This show is available on all podcast platforms. iTunes reviews are greatly appreciated. If you guys got a moment to swing over to iTunes and leave a review, thank you very much in advance. This show is brought to you by Feed Me More Nutrition, my premium supplement line sweetened with stevia and monk fruit. No harmful artificial sweeteners or colors, guys, like that Prime and C4. Stay away from that trash. It'll give you cancer, amongst other things. Guys, feedmemore.com. Save 20%. Discount code YouTube20, YouTube20 for the best supplements on the planet and all Ryback merch, workout accessories, ball caps, drinkware, and Feed Me More Nutrition. Feedmemore.com. All righty then. Let's get the show kicked off today. Good to see all of you guys. Everybody on TikTok, guys watching. You guys want to call into the show, follow me. Go follow Ryback at X Spaces on X, formerly Twitter. Come to my Ryback account. You'll see the X Spaces going on live, guys. Come on in, guys. Anybody on YouTube, come on to the X Spaces queue. Hit that request button that you want to speak to the big guy. We'll see your name in there. We'll try to get you on into your questions, whatever you want to talk about. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get the big sausage on here. Shawnee.
Big guy. Happy Saturday, brother.
Happy Saturday. How you doing today?
Good. We're watching the language, right? Because you're on TikTok.
We are going to watch the language. I'm going to, because I've learned multiple things on there. One, the cussing does not help with the algorithm.
Okay.
As far as that, so today's language will be toned down because I want to see what kind of numbers we pull in, and if we get more people on X Spaces, because things are weird here whenever I do the live show as far as the amount of people we get. So if I can get more traffic in here and we can get more callers calling in and grow this on here, and everyone knows it's 9 a.m. I think it's a great idea what you had, that this could help whatever the suppression or what's going on my. When I go live on TikTok on X, maybe this will help out. So we're going to see,
because it's a way to counteract their whatever they're doing to your account,
shadiness or whatever, their inability to like answer questions. Yeah, but
100%.
We're doing solid everywhere else, and YouTube numbers have been, YouTube. I told you live. We have 212 people right now watching live, but we've been getting 600, 700, 800 live in here on YouTube alone.
Awesome.
But they don't count that as the views anymore. YouTube switched it. So I get all these live views when we're going live, and then once the video post after the show ends, they then reset the views.
That's weird.
Yeah.
How do they reset it? Like
it just goes back to zero when it's up, and I go, what about all those people because people are coming in and out the whole time watching, but because it's not monetized to begin with, so maybe once I monetize it afterwards, they then reset it for the monetization. I don't know. But
that's super weird, honestly. Why would they reset it when like those viewers are viewing the video?
Yeah,
it makes no sense at all.
But I can't make sense of anything anymore without so. Donnie, you ready for WrestleMania today? You've got all your gear.
I was running out naked earlier, or dressed as Paul Heyman, and everybody.
I've got my YouTube video on Heyman where I cut the promo on him, which again, people can't decipher when. And by the way, like I don't think Paul's like the greatest human being, but I put him over plenty of times if you listen to the show. But I also though, like I don't like the guy, and he's done some really shady, bad things to me personally, and to a lot of people. It's not like it's like a hidden. That's not like hidden knowledge amongst wrestling.
Just to you, right? Like,
yeah.
You listen to the ECW guys. So many of them talk about not getting paid, and like he lied to them about their checks coming and things like that. So I don't doubt it, man. He's a shyster from Long Island. That's what they do.
That's what they do. And so, but like but people can't decipher when I cut the promos on my TikToks and I put it on YouTube, and like when I'm just trying to stir, like when I blur the lines. And like I get the views off of them, and like so that video is re-going again where people Because I guess, did you watch the Hall of Fame last night or no?
Yeah, so John actually hit me up this morning and was like, Sean, you gotta watch the Hall of Fame speech. And I was like, yeah, it was that good. He's like, bro,
From Heyman, right?
From Heyman, yeah. And I did. I watched it. I took 30 minutes out right before the show because I wanted to talk about it with you.
I'm glad you did, because I'm not giving Paul Heyman 30 minutes of my time. So I'll take the clip notes from old Shawnee on here.
So I have to say, big guy, all just from listening to his speech, it was one of the best speeches, Hall of Fame speeches I've ever heard.
And a lot of people are saying that. I saw.
Yeah, it was unreal. He did an unreal job. He gave a lot of credit to Levesque. He gave a lot of, and then mid-interview. So like in the first half of the interview, he was talking about his family and like, blah, blah, blah. And then he had a box on the podium. And what he did was he took out the leather jacket, the ECW hat, the big phone.
I thought it would have had donuts in it, but it's okay. So, yep. Sorry. I'll let you. I don't mean to.
He was keeping that in his jacket. Did you ever see Ninja Turtles 2 when they give the monsters donuts?
Yes. Jeez.
So it was really nice, and he talked about bro, like this is one thing I took from last night. He cursed so much,
Yeah,
and like he said, "S my F and D." He said at one point he was like, "If you think ECW spirit died in 2002 with the bankruptcy, then you could S my F and D." That's exactly what he said, and
it did die though. It did. When your business goes out of business, it is. I mean, people can chant all day long, but it did go out of business until WWE revived it and somehow probably made a little money on it. But yeah, it did go away forever. Then it doesn't matter how many people chant; it's gone.
And that's it. He talked about like how a lot of the things in today's wrestling are from ECW, and how they merged like hip hop and heavy metal into their. He said Stone Cold had his first beer down the block from the ECW arena. Yeah. He just mentioned a lot of things that and honestly, like I knew some of this stuff, but yeah, like it was just very interesting, big guy. I think even if you're not a fan of him, he's very captivating the way he talks.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, he knows how to lie but like manipulate and say things, but he knows how to elicit emotions out of people.
Exactly. That's why he's so good at what he does.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. I've always said he knows how to do that for sure.
No Brock Lesnar in sight. He mentioned Brock Lesnar a couple times. He wasn't there.
Jeez. Yeah, though that would be great. They just cut to up in a skybox. It's Brock and Vince just in there with a bunch of ladies. That would have been the perfect. Just cut away and see Brock and Vince just like a quick little pan that they are in attendance, but no mention of them, and it's just them partying it up with a bunch of hot chicks.
Oh my god! Imagine piss jugs around.
Him done, Laurinaitis, Brock and Vince with a bunch of chicks in a skybox, just watching the WrestleMania, the Hall of Fame.
I have to say though, this is like I haven't been this excited for a Mania in a long time. To be honest,
yeah, it is. I will always put over it is the biggest and best wrestling show is what they do. Like the production that I've been a part of 4 of them, it's second to none on all that. The production and the work that they put in and the talent obviously are clearly amazing. Like I don't think people too know. Like I was just thinking about that today. I went and did my sauna for 45 minutes and then and showered before I hopped on the show while I'm fasting here. And I was thinking, I go, man, just like how calm and like relaxed life is now. Like I remember the pressure though, like of those days of like when you're going out there. And I was just thinking like, man, like thinking about the main event with Cody and Seth Rollins versus Roman and The Rock. And I saw Cody this week. Everyone did all the media and they were the Ariel Helwani, which we'll talk about that as well.
Yes, I got that on my list. Yep.
but like Cody talking about like Rock's been gone for 12 years. There's like, so specifically too, if Cody's winning or not winning, it doesn't matter. That main event, like there's so much pressure on Cody and Seth and Roman, more on Cody and Seth, because Cody and Seth are facing Roman and Rock, and Roman's always ready to go. Doesn't matter what his schedule is. He's a big time player. He turns it on. He trains. He's always on his game. But Rock has been out 12 years, and if you remember correctly, when he wrestled Cena the last time, and that was what 12 years ago, he injured himself really badly in those matches. And I think he had a torn groin or a torn abdominal. Like he messed himself up pretty badly towards the like middle or end of that match, and that was 12 years ago. You know, he's in his 50s, and he takes care of himself, and but like it's one thing, and he's been training, but like when you go out there and you start exerting yourself again at game speed, which is what the WrestleMania, like that will be Rock's first time probably really going game speed. And I don't know for sure, but like when you're out there in the adrenaline, you can't mimic that in training. You could still go hard.
Football, the same thing. They
Yes.
say there's a difference between being in game shape
Yes.
and practice shape.
Because the adrenaline factor, and the adrenaline can zap you if you're not, and like it can you can only understand it if you've done it. You have to, one, be in tremendous shape, cardiovascular shape, and just overall shape, but mental health, you have to be, everything has to be firing on all cylinders. But if there's anybody that could do it, it's him, because he's already done this multiple times with it.
Yeah.
But he is a lot older than he was the last time, even though physically he looks great. He's been out of the game. So Cody was talking about that. There is a lot of pressure on Cody and Seth to go out there. They're the two main eventers. They're the two guys that have been holding the fort down, right? So they're going to have to go out there, and they're hoping to pull off a WrestleMania worthy main event 2 nights in a row. But this night specifically with The Rock added in, and you know Seth has been out with his knee injury, and I think he's back here recently. But like, there's a lot on the line with this, and like, you know, Roman is part time. Cody's there every day doing everything, but there's a lot of pieces. I was just thinking though, man, I bet you Cody is pretty stressed today, going into like just one stressed in a good way of wanting the event to be successful, as is everybody, I'm sure.
Big guy. So this is a 2-part question from me. So number one, do you remember your first Mania and how you felt going into it? And number two, do you think Cody knows who's going to win the match tonight, or is it a surprise to them?
So he could. There are times when they don't let you know on that. I would say my guess is he does know. He would have to know with this. I would imagine in Vince gone. I don't know how Hunter directly how much they communicate. But I do think, from what I've heard from Cody, that him and Hunter, their relationship is quite good. So my guess is he does know, and he knows where the story's going as of at least the next 2 days with it. If this thing is still the part of the ultimate screw job of, you know, like I said, the old Vince way of like, would they really let a guy that left and created their competition, and that has created problems for them, whether they want to admit that or not, from keeping talent, having to pay talent more, because they ultimately don't like to do that. Like, are they really going to reward a guy that's gone out and done that? I don't know. Could this be a first of maybe a changing of the way things have been? Yeah, and I'm hoping for Cody's sake it is. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, me too.
But
yeah.
I was excited, brother. I'm on the first one, but I had a lot going on. I told you before, where it was under the assumption how everything was being laid out. Then Vince and Hunter and Stephanie had pulled me aside prior and informed me that they would like to turn me heel after WrestleMania to feud with Cena. So when I went into that WrestleMania match with Mark Henry, it was under the assumption that I was going over, and then like red hot and turning on Cena the next night. And then like the day or 2 days before, they told me something changed and I was going to be falling on my face with Mark. And then Vince, I couldn't get a hold of Vince. He avoided me until the day of. And then I finally got him in Gorilla, and we had a long conversation. I've told this story where I finally found him in Gorilla, and everybody left, and we had a long conversation. And he just told me, he goes, "This is going to be your excuse for you failed as a baby face and you fell on your face." But it was a strenuous week because of the creative and everything. And like Mark didn't like being picked up either. A lot of people don't know this. So this was going to be my first time shell shocking Mark. And we had to practice it over and over the week of Mania. And there were times Mark didn't want to jump because Mark would get like little like trigger. He would get scared because Mark didn't.
Yes.
Mark was not used to getting picked up.
He was exactly.
And so he would fight it. He would
pick him up.
Yes. So he would fight it. So not like in a way to like try to prevent me from like his body, it was a natural reaction. Like so I'd go to his like his weight, his legs would get heavy. And we were like, Mark, we can't. And luckily and to his credit, he didn't do it out there and we did it easily. And any other time I've shell shocked him after he did it, but like and rightfully so, like picking him up, I have to have control of him. So then it was like that, and then I had to it was the pressure of I had to get him up for shell shock for the Mania and then walk over to the ropes with him at the end of a match with him. And that then he grabbed onto the ropes and that would cause me to trip and fall. So there was like the pressure of, okay, we got to hope that we can get him up to then walk over with him to then pull that off. And then I got to shell shock him again after the match is over, like with it and with him tired. But we did it all came off effortlessly and it was amazing. But I remember those were the biggest like stresses leading in on top of like what is going on creatively and not really getting a clear answer till the day of, and which was a lie. And it was done to kind of to really hurt the character overall long term. So
do you remember, big guy, like besides the actual show stuff, like do you remember what it was like getting there and like did you have a lot of things to do during the day or did you just get to hang out? Like do you remember that?
No, yeah, all of it. So every year it was constant. You have media all the time, fan access, media, and so like the week and then you in getting your workouts. And so like they'll give you your run sheet when you get there, and they'll tell you like you've got these appearances these days, and then so then you can kind of plan your week, like when you're going to wake up and train or if you're going to train at night, because some days you're like going all morning and you can't work out till night. Some days you've got like 2 or 3 hours where you can get your workout in the morning, and then the rest of the day is filled up with stuff. And like it's quite strenuous for most talents on that, unless you get them more of the people that had been there. The longer you're there, you then can get out of the fan access stuff in the where you're not doing those long 3-hour signings.
Yeah.
Where those are what can you, and by the way, and maybe things have changed now. I don't know. We were never paid for those. So those were
that's what Ryder said too. Like he had one of those matches that you have like in the middle of access.
Yeah. I never luckily I never I would
he said it was the worst. He said it was the worst ever. Like people just walking by, not even caring, like
bro, yeah, and they did those, they really started doing those towards the end. I was in a good enough spot where like that wasn't in it. Those were punishment, man. That you weren't in it, like, and that's not like Ryder was like it like they were putting guys. Yeah, and Hunter always has like they've always it's because Zach is charismatic and in great shape, and he's a big guy. Like, and Hunter's always been insecure about guys like that. Always, that's a real Hunter thing. Like it's not like a made up thing. So,
yep, I believe it.
But yeah, the weak brother. I mean, it's and then too, a lot of people don't realize all the fans know like the TV hotels. So for me, and I love fans, but when you're like just trying to get your stuff done, and like it is, and it during all the year, I could hide and get hotels 30 minutes out of the city and like kind of like live a normal life outside of people recognize you here and there. But it's not like massive groups of people that know where you are. During WrestleMania, fans just hang out at the TV hotel at the hotel like nonstop. And Philadelphia is going to be bad. I'm sure it's been horrible all week. So like everywhere you go, people are recording you, and like so there's no real privacy on any of it. And like so if you want to go out and eat and like all the like I would always rent a car and I paid for the valet. A lot of the talents would just save money and didn't do that. I didn't care. I would do that, and like some of the guys would go with me, would go drive 30-40 minutes out and go get food and go relax outside of the city or somewhere deeper out of the den, so you can at least have some sense of normalcy and like focus, because there's so many distractions during the week that like that was always for me, just stay focused, get the things I need to get done, do my obligations, make sure I get all my meals and get all my training in, and I'm ready to go for the event. And so that is what the main thing is for most talents, are trying to do that in their own way all week.
That's awesome, big guy. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I figured a lot of people listening would want to know like your experience.
Yeah,
Right?
and it was good. Don't get me. I had a lot of great experiences. I'm thankful for everything, but it can be. You got people like when you've got hundreds of people waiting outside. And you're just trying to get to your car, and you got only an hour to go work out before you got to hurry up and shower and go do a 3 hour signing, and then you got to do piggyback things all off the day off that. And people want pictures and autographs nonstop. And there's a lot of people. And when you have time, you can do it with it. But when you don't, like and they're not always the most understanding. And that's where they're like, F you, you're an a-hole, or this and that. And you're like, look, I've only got an hour here, buddy. Do you want me to you want the full Ryback experience at Mania, or do you want me to show up about 5 pounds light? I don't know. Like whatever, like you know what I mean. But like, hey, I just won't work out today. I'll just come out and sign and go back to my room and get ready and go do my other signing that I'm not getting paid for. Like,
especially when they got 30 things in their hand, and you're like, bro,
like, yeah.
What are you doing? You know,
they're just wanting to. They just want the 30 card signs so they can go make money off of on eBay off of you. Exactly. And people, and then they go. Those are the people though that go on X or Twitter, and then they write things, and you're like, hey, what about like? I told you that I used to stay after the shows, especially when I main evented, and like people would be waiting for me. I'd be the last one leaving, and there'd be everybody out there waiting. It didn't matter what the weather, and I would sign and do everything for everyone. And every night, man, every night. And then I remember,
I believe it.
And then I remember finally there was, and I told you I had a 5 hour drive, and I always rode by myself after a point. And so, and I had a long, there was a lot of people out there. So I shook everybody's hand. And as I shook everybody's hand, I go, you guys can take pictures as I'm doing. I go, I'm sorry, I can't do pictures and autographs. I've got a 5 hour drive tonight. But it's nice to meet. And I literally shook everybody's hand and said hello. And there were a lot of people, Shawnee. And that night there were things on X on how big of an a-hole I was that I didn't sign for them. And I just remember like I just go, man, you're never gonna win in this, no matter how
that's not right. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I want people to understand that like the fan that's that group on X that goes and does that. And then people like, but then there's enough people out there like, hey, Ryback at a restaurant, and he got our family tickets. Like the things Cody does. I've done that. I did that for every live event. I've tried to get people tickets because those weren't always usually sold out. And a lot of the talents do that because a lot of the talent, like Cody's a really good guy. But like I never like broadcasted it when I did it on it and like stuff like that stuff. And it's like you know what you really do and try to do, then you see what like some of those negative people, you're like, God. And then people believe that, and you're like, Jesus Christ, man, what can you do?
Yep. It's like they pin it against you for something that it's like you're just trying to live a normal like existence. Like
most people would have just gotten in their car and left and not explained or shook their hands. 100%. And that's where I'm just And so you're just kind of like, what can you do? You win some, you lose some. But Shawnee, before guys, everybody on TikTok, guys, YouTube, come on over to X Spaces, guys. Hit that request button. We're going to get some of you guys on today with me and Shawnee after we catch up a little. We're going to be bringing you guys on for your questions. X Spaces at Ryback, guys. The account's really suppressed here. It won't be broadcast out, so we need you to come on over here and come on in and hit that request button to come on.
Yeah, TikTok, come on, show out. Come to X, and we appreciate you guys being on TikTok and YouTube, but we would love to talk to you, and the only way you could call in is on X. So
absolutely.
Come in and request.
Let's actually do that real quick. We've got a new caller right here, RT77. Let's see what he has to say.